പോഡ്കാസ്റ്റിന്റെ അടുത്ത ഒരു എപ്പിസോഡിലേക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും സ്വാഗതം. ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ കവർ ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത് മാൻ യുണൈറ്റഡിന്റെ പ്രിവ്യൂ ആണ്. എൻ്റെ കൂടെ ചേർന്നിരിക്കുന്ന 3 മാൻ യുണൈറ്റഡ് ഫാൻസ് ആണ്. വലിയ ശല്യക്കാരാ. ശ്യാം, ശ്രീജിത്ത് ആൻഡ് ബല. Fear is in the mind. Okay. Anyway, so this year Man United എന്ത് എക്സ്പെക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും?
So Manchester United finished in Champions League places last season. There was a lot of positive hope going into the transfer window, which was a short, not transfer window, the off season, which was a short off season. There were again umpteen number of players linked. Stronger links were to Jadon Sancho, Van de Beek, Grealish, and some other ones as well. But looking at it right now, I don't think they are there yet to actually get the challenge for take the next step. They haven't really backed the manager. Players in the പുതിയ players ഒന്നും വന്നിട്ടില്ല. ആകെ വന്നേക്കണ Van de Beek ആണ്. Van de Beek is a good addition, but he is left with the same squad to do the same battle and finish higher, which I think is probably unheard of. All the rest of the teams have gone strong. So yeah, based on that, it's not looking good, but it's a season. It's a season where you can always, look back at Rashford and Martial and Greenwood to deliver. But I think it'll be much harder than last season.
Okay.
Bruno Fernandes certainly be in the mix, but it won't be smooth sailing, just like how it was from January to May, or not May, right? I mean July.
Yeah. So Srijit, what is
സ്ക്വാഡ് ഡെപ്ത് ഇല്ലാത്തതാണ് ശരിക്കും ഇപ്പൊ പറഞ്ഞ പ്രശ്നം. എന്നുവെച്ചാൽ സ്കോൾജർ ആവശ്യപ്പെട്ട playing 11, he was playing the same team continuously, and the effect was seen in the FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea and also against Sevilla. Like at the end, towards the end, it felt like they didn't have any more mileage on those legs. Ipo we are going into one more season. Sancho എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് നമ്മൾ കുറെ കേട്ടു, അല്ലാണ്ട് nothing really happened. And I know a lot of us are excited, or we wanted someone in a midfield addition, but I was more looking forward to strengthen our defense, because that partnership with Harry Maguire and Lindelof hasn't really worked, if you ask me. Because നമ്മുടെ attacking prospects are really exciting, especially after Bruno Fernandes has come in. Attacking prospects has looked really good. Especially we have Greenwood doing really well. Martial and Rashford have having a rivalry among themselves and banging in goals. About other പ്രശ്നമായിട്ട് എനിക്ക് തോന്നിയിട്ടില്ല. And Ighalo is a good squad player. He's not an out and out striker, or the striker we would want. And we always have someone like James, or to run in the last 15-10 minutes at tired defenses. Defense wise, I think we needed some reinforcements. Luke Shaw was injured towards the end. Brandon Williams did a good job. I don't think we can run a whole season, especially in this COVID times, and considering the crowded fixture now that we are into. This is not a squad that can do anything good in Champions League. I'm still optimistic about a top 4 finish in the Premier League. But I don't think Champions League we would go, make a deep run.
Bala, what are your impressions about Van de Beek, the one signing that you actually have?
Yeah, so Van de Beek, right? So now I'll be honest, I do not follow Ajax as much as I follow United. So it looks like a very skillful player to have. I think he is going to be part of the midfield unit. I don't think he starts every game, but I think he's a wonderful person to come in if you want to give Bruno Fernandes a rest, play him as a number 10, or you want to keep Pogba at rest and play him behind Bruno. So I think he's flexible in that sense, like a typical Ajax midfielder. So I'm very excited to see him and what he can do. But as Srijit says, right, it's not nearly not enough because of where we are at. See, we barely finished 1 point ahead of Chelsea, and Chelsea has a £250 million invested to close that gap. And here we are sitting here thinking that Van de Beek is going to solve our problems. It's not, because Van de Beek does not play defense. And the other part of it also, it's not just about, okay, now I think Ole has to start thinking, I'm not going to get my players that I want. So what do? Do I make a stand like how Mourinho does and show to Ed and the audience that, this team cannot win by putting out teams which get beat, right? Is that what he does? Or does he really dig deep and start to really use the rest of the squad, which is a very thin squad ability that Solskjaer can rely on? So he might have to play, Pereira more than he wants. He might have to play, James more than he wants. Who knows? He might even have to play Chris Smalling, because we don't have another defender coming in on this season, because I have completely given up hope on what Ed Woodward can do for the team. It's going to be what can Solskjaer do to really keep the lights on. But I don't see it happening. I actually fear that we might miss out on Champions League finish also. So I don't know. It's looking bleak right now.
I think that's that's a sad part actually. Kala hit the nail on the head. This, after the positive end to the last season, even though we lost to semifinals, we were actually really looking good, and it was clear as daylight for anybody that what is the team need. Team need reinforcements in defense. Team need reinforcement in attacking midfield standpoint. There is, it needs a bit of those stardust, which actually can take the squad to the next level. The squad strength to the next level. I think even Solskjaer in his multiple interviews about how he wants to improve the first team squad. So not just adding players just for the sake of making up the numbers. He wanted to actually improve the first team squad. So he wanted people who are much better than who he has in his squad right now. And that was the target given to the recruitment team as well. Like, improve my first team squad. Either bring in players who are as capable as, Maguire or Lindelof, or even better. And in this COVID market, of course, there was a big dip in what we can spend. But there could have some smart picks that they could bring in, which actually could have at least strengthened the squad. In the sense, like, they may not have added into quality, but they may have added the same quality and then increased the quantity of selection that Solskjaer has. At least bring in somebody who is, as capable as Harry Maguire or as capable as Lindelof, somebody who is young, so that Solskjaer can at least mold. Now, what he's left with is a 30-year-old Rojo and Jones and Chris Smalling to deal with whenever Maguire or Lindelof needs a rest, and that's actually not a good situation to be in my opinion. And that's the same situation that LVG and Mourinho was left with as well, because the gaps in the squad was very much visible and that during that times as well. And there was only a need for like 2 or 3 smart additions. And if you look at Chelsea, compared to Chelsea, Lampard didn't require all of this investment. He probably required only 2 or 3 players, but he has been back to the helm. Right now, his squad, if you look at it, the squad strength has almost doubled from what he had. And I think Ole was not expecting that much. At least 20%, 30% increase in the squad strength would have been good enough for him. But right now, I think what we have delivered is very, very low. And it's very evident that, it's been done by people who have no understanding of the footballing side of it. They're purely seeing it as a business. Yes. They are there to mince money, and the only target they're trying to achieve seems to be the financial statement and the profits that they put the double lines at the end of it, the bottom line.
Yeah, it looks like it, because every time they invest, get into the Champions League, and then there's no money after that in the next window, right?
Right. Then they're left with the manager with whatever squad that he had. Yeah. Even another worrying thing is there should have been a lot of cleanup also of the squad. Like Bala was saying, I don't think Ole is looking at Pereira as an option at all. he should have been sold way ahead in the window. Phil Jones should have been sold.
We got rid of
Sergio
Alexis.
Romero should have
That's
been sold
the
once.
That's the only good thing that has happened so far. You know,
Yeah,
to
so
my liking is we got rid of Alexis Sanchez this window.
So correct, we got rid of Alexis Sanchez. But again, if you look at it, Alexis Sanchez was the biggest earner in Manchester United, and we got rid of him. His wages is off the books. They probably see it as a win. See, if Pereira goes or Phil Jones goes, it's not a big dip in their wage structure. So they don't mind keeping hold of them and then making up the numbers. See, that's what I think. It's because it's being run by people who have no footballing sense. They value keeping Phil Jones much more than keeping Alexis Sanchez.
It's going to be like, when you're at a point where Ole is saying, I don't have a defender, and Ed is like, why don't we just extend Smalling? Why don't we just extend Jones? That's like he's getting a new signing. I have heard this from Arsenal fans in the Wenger era. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You bring back a player
exactly
whom you put in your discard pile and loaned away, bring them back and say, this is like a new signing. So, I know. I think I am talking like I've had a couple of drinks, but really I do need a couple of drinks right now, the way things are going.
So I want to ask a very controversial question. So who starts in the goal? Is it DDG or, with Henderson not going out again on a loan, do you think Henderson now starts on the in the goal?
Henderson does what Romero did last year. Henderson starts your domestic cups and maybe some of the early Champions League fixtures, but even Champions League, I think it's going to be DDG all the way. So Premiership and Champions League is going to be David De Gea. Henderson probably plays their FA Cups and Carabao Cups.
So
I think Romero is the odd man out right now.
Yeah. I don't know who made the decision there, but I think that's actually one of the good decisions that United have made this time, is to get Henderson tied down into a contract and keeping him at the club as well. Letting him know that you have to compete for the place as well, because De Gea was kind of becoming a lot complacent. Either it was complacent or he was just thinking that he was going to get picked and wasn't even trying. Now at least he's at that point that he knows that Henderson is right down the order and is going to be closer to the first team than Romero.
Right.
So so that is going to be a good competition for places that Ole might enjoy having. So positive side of things, if you look at it, Bruno Fernandes will have his off season. He'll come back, into a new season. Van de Beek is a really good signing. In a good sense, in the sense like Ole may not have to play Pereira or Mata or Lingard that much because Van de Beek gives you that option of whether he can play center mid, center attacking mid, center defensive mid. He's technically sound to do either of them. So that is a good option to have off the bench. Then I think in the attack is where probably as a club we are relying on three players, and club of the magnitude of Manchester United, I don't want to be talking history, but club the magnitude of Manchester United, and a club that is actually going to or expected to compete in 4 competitions, should not be relying on just 3 players to give you goals. Goals in the sense in your attack, if one of them gets injured, God forbid, or if one of them needs a rest, just like Anirudh was pointing out, or Srijit was pointing out, if they start losing their legs, United is going to really struggle in front of the goal.
And to that point, Shyam, I think last season we were the unexpected beneficiaries of the COVID stoppage, because we had Rashford and Pogba come back into the side. Had there not been a COVID stoppage, I don't think we finished 4th even, to be honest.
Correct.
Right. Leicester was at a much better situation. And
so
we kind of made up.
I think Leicester definitely didn't bring that intensity, or they couldn't bring that form back after the COVID restart. They just
Madison's The Madison's unavailability hit them really bad, and
but they were dipping even before that. They were starting to dip even before the stoppage. To my mind, Leicester is Liverpool redux, right? So they are like not big match players. Liverpool has overcome that psychological barrier, unfortunately. But I think Leicester, the connection with Brendan Rodgers shows that they are still that they do not have the killer instinct to put the foot down and take what is theirs, right? They'll take what is given to them. So I don't think that's going to change a whole lot this season.